the different types of problems you guys had last night. When we're talking about permutations, and then eventually we'll start talking about what are called combinations. There's going to be specifics to know when to use what. Yesterday, the whole idea was just to learn how, not just to count, but how do you go through specific scenarios and make options, if you will. And you're looking at this, like we're saying, like event 1, event 2. Think of it as you have 3 pairs of jeans and 5 t-shirts. How many different outfits can you make?
None, because school only show up without shoes. You said match. No, I won.
It's so many days. Is it June? All right, Clay.
Yeah.
You have 4 pairs of jeans, 6 tops, 9 pair of underwear, and 7 sandals.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but I know where you was going to try and say. So, how many outfits now?
I was going to say you can't have an outfit because you know you're stupid either. You're showing up late because you're spending so much time building.
Like they actually checked for student ID.
No! You didn't hear the rest of my thing, but the less fun.
We tuned you out after you started talking,
not
so that's okay.
I do that a lot. I started.
All you had to do there is, we're looking at possible combination. You're just kind of multiplying them all through. You have this many of these choices, this many of these, and so on and so forth. Now, you think of it in terms of, you guys like to make fun of my tie combinations, because they hardly ever match.
I know. It wasn't. Now we're on today.
I mean, they're cool when they do, but you know.
But if you think about it, let's say I've got 15 dress shirts and about 30 ties. That's a whole lot of mismatching I can do.
How many ties do you have?
It's probably about 30 of them, I'd say.
Mismatching is expressed
has a lot
individuality,
for like
like,
a-
I'm sports
450 different companies.
Right. So, but that's how those things look at. Now, when you start talking about license plates, and I know I might have drone on about license plates yesterday. I know. What I want you guys to think about here is the ideas of being able to identify how many letters are in the alphabet and how many digits you have. How many letters are in the alphabet? 26 of them. How many digits are there? There's 10 of them. So if they're talking about license plate possibilities via repeated and non-repeated, remember the old saying, Pete and repeat were in a boat, Pete fell out, who's left? Who is it? Pete, repeat, were in a boat, Pete fell out, who was left?
I don't know.
Pete, repeat, were in a boat, Pete fell out, who was left? Repeat, so on. So, it's, yes. If you're looking at license plates, if the first 2 digits have to be numerical, and the next 4 are alphabetical, first of all, in the state of Illinois, what type of license plate is this?
The one with the little Lincoln face in the middle.
No. No.
Bus driving plate.
Special one.
Truck plates. Truck plates start with numbers. Passenger plates start with, passenger car plates start with letters.
I didn't even know that. No,
but
but
they
they
have
have
all
all numbers.
We're not that much different.
All numbers on a car, I thought you'd have a letter in there.
No, my mom's is 8 Yeah,
You can
Really? I thought there was numbers and letters, or the letters and the numbers with the cars.
I believe you can have all letters because.
I know. You can personalize and do all that stuff too.
Yeah, because my dad had a license plate recently that he might still have that in all letters.
Yeah, you can do all that.
Yeah,
So if you have 2 digits, you have 10 here for your first choice. You're allowing repetition, so how many you have for the next? Then how many letters are there?
It's 10.
Wait, so is that a rule? Because they didn't say that it has to be 2 and then 3.
Because it's saying that here. License plates do have specific rules to them. If you do want to look at the rules for license plates, there's this thing on the internet called a website for the state of Illinois, Secretary of State. You can do Secretary of State.Illinois or whatever it is, and you can actually do license plate randomness, or you can check to see.
Just
You can type it in personal place or vanity place to see if they're available. It'll tell you what type of, if you're looking at a car plate. Yeah, Jake, yeah. It's never wearing tires. It'll tell you if things are available. I think vanity plates are all letters. Personal plates have letters and numbers. You pay more for that. If you're going to do that without repetition,
It's
10,
9,
and then
times 26, 25, 24, and 23.
this kind of gets into the idea of picking lottery numbers. If you pick the Powerball, I think Powerball has 54. What's wrong with you? Okay, you're looking at it really crazy. I just want to make sure you're all right. What's happening here is you have 10 digits and you can't repeat them. So you have 10 options for your first digit, which means you have 9 options for the next. Then you start with letters. There's 26 options for the first, took away one of them, 25, 24, 23, and so on. Okay. Now, I think you'll get it a little bit better if I talk about Powerball. Powerball lottery. Powerball lottery, I think, is the numbers 1 through 54, and then the numbers 1 through 54. You're going to pick 5 of these, then you pick one of those. Obviously, it's a big giant ping pong ball spinning around and blowing around, and it's saying, "Here's to me, lucky." So the probability or the possibility of picking the first number, well, you have 54 of those to get right. Then you have 53. Then there's 52. Then there's 51. And then there's 50. That's 5 of them, right? Then you start over. Yes, sir?
What if you had like a system where you had 2 of each number? You had like 2 1s, 2 2s. Would it go 54, 54, then 53, 53? Like if you had 1 through 54 twice.
That's a little bit more of the complex stuff. Wait until next week and I'll show you. Okay. Because then your hopper's got, if you're duplicating this out, then you have 108 of them. And you still have 1, but you have choosing them out of this. It's like going to be a whole bunch of combinations multiplied together. It's nasty. Okay. And then you get back to this one, you start over the other hopper. How many of them do you have? 54. So you probably heard the old joke that you've got a better chance of being struck by lightning than winning the lottery. Well, it's true, but it's even better than that. You have the better chance of being struck by lightning more than twice than winning the lottery.
You have a better chance
Also,
of dying on your way to get a lottery if you get that actually winning the lottery.
Twice.
You know, you are more likely to win the lottery 100 times and pick up the phone and say, "Bless you." You're so excuses.
And in the case of the movie,
I have a book about it. Do you want me to? I'll bring
How about
it.
this? Hey, this is a real question. When was the last time you answered a phone call?
Like
The
yesterday.
other day. It was my grandma.
Yeah, my parents called me.
oh, Mr. Murphy, that backfired.
It's getting close to the idea that most people don't use phones anymore.
You have more reasons winning the Powerball than winning the lottery.
So what do you get when you do 5? The greatest day ever!
Why are you so happy?
Because it was I was waiting to scare somebody, and I just
No, like in general, you're like a
sorry. She may or may not have.
It's only the second time.
No, it's not even close. Transfer was just me. That was fun.
We're not going on there.
No, we're not. That's why I said that was me. This was fun.
You start going down with all that next week.
I do want to show you this because this came up last hour also, and there's a question later on. When you're using the generic definition of permutation, obviously you guys were pressing buttons in your calculator. I want you to remember what this means. Permutation and permute are. Permutation versus combinations. Permutations mean that a specific order matters. The order in which things are being picked, president, vice president, and so on. Winning a race, first, second, third, that kind of thing. The person that wins isn't going to come in last unless they're running by themselves.
There are no losers.
So here you wind up with n factorial over n minus r quantity factorial. If I'm looking at it by pure substitution, I really wanted to yell 16, but I knew Jessica would kill me. What's 16 minus 0? 16. So what happens here is you get 16 factorial over 16 factorial. This is the rule for doing those. What's that? That's why it's the same thing in top and bottom. That's why you do 1. Okay. What's happening here is that you're going to be able to take, but you should be able to take things that look like 8 permute 5 and realize what in essence it's asking you to do and crank it a hand. 8 permute 5 is 8 factorial over 8 minus 5 factorial. Just 3 factorial. So this is 8, 7, 6, 5, not 309, but 4, 3, 2, 1. Over 3, 2, 1. And the reason that it's 3 factorial is because what's 8 minus 5?
3.
So your answer then would just be 56 times 30 times 4. 56 times 120.
Does that mean we would have a margin where we don't have a calculator?
You might.
That's bad.
No, it's not.
That's bad.
I'm really bad at multiplying.
It's this magic thing called lattice.
What was the word problems?
That's how I do it.
Was talking about like putting a 0 in, so I just put like.
I've never learned how to do
That's-
multiply correctly or divide correctly.
That's why I showed this. It's the same idea. Substitute, just use n and r. If r is 0, what's n minus 0? Same thing. Yeah. You have 16 and you're picking 9. How many ways can you pick 9 out of 16? We'll get to it. We're getting to our letters. Within these two sets of problems, there's 2 different versions here. You have without repetition and with repetition. Now, if you're not going to allow for repetition, that just means that if I'm looking at the word jet, how many letters are there?
3.
How many different ways can you arrange them?
3.
6. 3 times 2 times 1. Since there's just 3 letters, it's a 3 factorial. There's 3 spots for the first letter. There's only 2 spots left for the second. There's only 1 spot left for the third. Because the order in which they're being placed is how it works. Same thing goes with Florida. How many ways are there to write it? How many letters are in the word Florida? 7. So you have 7 factorial. There's 7 spots to put the first letter, 6 spots for the second, 5, and so on. That's why they're talking about distinguishable letters, distinguishable permutations of the letters. How many different ways can you rearrange them? Now, when it gets into with repetition, that just means you can reuse the letters in different spots. So what happens here with the word puppy, how many letters are in the word puppy?
None because you
5.
factored wrong.
Very good. None because you factored wrong. I like that. But it's foiled, but we'll get over it.
Oh, it is. Dang it. I was so close. I almost had a good joke.
So when we're talking about with repetition in distinguishable words, there's distinguishable letters, excuse me. You take the total number that you have, 5, factorial. You're going to divide it by, well, the letters that are in puppy are P, U, and Y. Because when you take a shower, P, U, and Y.
Did you just slap your knee?
Yeah.
Maybe it's bad.
You gotta do the same thing.
What?
Yeah, that bothers me.
Hi, how are you?
I like saying knees slapper.
Okay. How many letters in the word puppy are the letter P? So there are 3 P's in the word puppy. How many letters are U? How many letters are Y? So what happens here is the total number goes to the top. The denominator, you just write these out. Well, there's 3 factorial of P's. There's 1 factorial of U and 1 factorial of Y. Well, 1 factorial is what?
1.
And what's 1 times 1?
1.
So if they're singular, we don't worry about it. So you wind up with 5 factorial over 3 factorial. Remember, 5 factorial is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 factorial is
3, 2, 1.
what drops?
3, 2, 1.
What's your answer?
20.
That's all that is.
But only some of those are words.
And that's okay.
All you need to do is punch
If
it
it's
down.
permutation with the letters, no.
Right, but you might not have one, so you need to write these out. If I'm looking at Connecticut, Connecticut has, well, let's see, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little letters, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little letters, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little letters, 10 little total letters. Oh, forgot the T, make it 11. There's 11 total letters. That goes in the numerator. I divide that by, well, C is 1, 2, 3 factorial. O is just 1, so we don't worry about it. N is 2 of them. E is 1. T is 2. And I and U are singular as well. So if you multiply this out, you wind up with, no, because 3 factorial, remember, it's 11 factorial, so it's 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 factorial is what? 3 times 2 times 1. 2 factorial is, and 2 factorial is that equal 12? You can't combine them, you have to multiply through. Okay. Now watch what happens. You can simplify these fractions rather easily. The 2 and the 1 goes away. We okay on that?
Yes.
This one goes away, that one goes away, no big deal.
Gotcha.
What's 2 times 2?
4.
So the 4 goes away.
Gotcha.
3 goes away. You're left with this.
Okay, so you combine the 2, keep the first 2 twos for 4.
Yeah. Okay. Oh!
Looking at Lily's answers.
Oh!
They're not right.
Okay. Now we get into the other stuff. Looking at stereo equipment or figuring out how many combinations you can make out of a pizza. Well, the stereo equipment tells you have 5 choices for receivers, 8 different compact disc players, then we have 12 speaker systems. Well, we're just picking one out of each one of them, so it's just 5 times 8 times 12, which gives you 480. When you're ordering pizza, you're going to pick out 1 cheese, 1 veggie, and 1 meat for $9.
Hey, he showed up.
Hi. So you have 7 cheeses, 11 vegetables, 6 meats, 3 crusts, and 2 sauces. Multiply that all out, you get?
Food poisoning.
Minus.
I did it.
Thomas has 7 billion though.
Who cares?
It's a drop in the bucket. Yes, you get 2772. It's a palindrome, and it looks almost kind of the same if you flip it upside down.
I shoved my binder and the paper flew off my folder.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about that. I was worried about the other part.
Duck.
Someone came in and fixed the board yesterday and she goes, thanks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're welcome or something.
he like He like moved his head back into the room and looked at me for a second, and then he said, "You're welcome."
You like this when he did it? Yeah, I heard it. Someone told me that last hour. He didn't tell me that. That's pretty funny. Computer file secure, you have to enter a password. Now, in this case here, the shortest allowable passwords are typically 6 characters long, contain both numbers and letters. Nowadays they're different. Nowadays you have to add even more to it. So, how many 6-character passwords are possible if characters can be repeated and characters cannot be repeated? Well, we have to decide how many characters there are. How many letters are there? How many numbers are there? How many characters are there? 36.
But you can do uppercase letters.
All they're talking about here is just characters. They're not talking about upper or lower. They didn't say it.
But they're different.
They didn't say it though.
But those two are different characters.
So you have 36 possible to start with. If you're only going to go for 6 of them, how many of them can be repeated? How many of them can't be repeated? The idea here is that you have to start with 36. That's why. Okay. So if you have the first one, you have all 36 to choose from. Second one, you have 36 to choose from. Third one, you have 36. So it winds up being 36 to the 6th power. Okay. Now, if you're not repeating, if it starts with 36, the next one is 35, 34, 3, 32, 31. That's how that one works. It's a little bit different than what most people were thinking because you have 26 and 10. Nowadays, so remember, this book was written in 02, 03, something like that.
That sounds dangerously updated.
Yeah, we probably can't learn it.
But remember, math really hasn't changed a whole
Let's
lot.
spend $8.5 million on technology over the next 3 years. And we're like, actually, folks from that
Well, we'll have a new algebra. We should have a new algebra 2 book. Not next year, the year after.
helpful when I'm in calculus. I'll come back.
Remember though, I mean, in all honesty, the math doesn't change. History, yes, because there's new things that happen. But math doesn't change, just some of the word problems. What's that?
Well, I mean, like, what if you
But
uncover
you're
your
adding to it.
Just type it
We just added the past to that last moment.
Yeah,
That one.
you really
That
want
one.
to
That one. Critical thinking, I just talked about that. Seats. What this one's talking about is that there's 24 people with 24 seats. How many ways can you move them around? Well, the first person can sit here, which means she can't sit here. She can't sit there.
What if she sprawls herself over?
This is your 24
Just because
factorial.
Katie can't sit here, that means I can't sit there. That's what you said.
Whatever.
It's 24 squared.
No, it's 24 factorial. Because the first person is one spot, means they go to the second spot. So you have 24 spots for the first person, 23 spots for the second, so on. Now let's talk about scientific notation. You can leave it in exponent form because it's not a big deal.
What is it? Wait, what do you mean exponent?
Well, in this case, it would be 20. I'm sorry, leave it as factorial. Sorry, had been termed. 24 factorial is going to give you a really, really big number that makes no sense. Ringing bells. The process where the bells are lower or in a tower are rung. Come on. What happens here is, again, if you ring the bell one way, you can't ring it start here, you're not going to ring it again. You have to do 10 factorial. All it is.
It's just 10 factorial.
Does everybody see where it says the drama club part to the right of where it says play auditions? Yeah, that's how you answer the question.
So,
I didn't understand. It was like,
who was putting on a play about a librarian, a teacher, a coach, a principal, 2 students?
It sounds like a bad joke.
yeah, that sounds like a really depressing, boring play.
Anyway, if only 6 people auditioned for those 6 parts, wouldn't that just be 6 factorial?
Yeah, that's funny.
Why don't you that?
What did you say, Thomas? Oh. Now, if there are 9 people and you have 6 spots to pick out of here, this is where you have to remember that you're dealing with, you have 9 spots and you're only picking 6. Order matters because if you're student A, you're not going to be the principal. If you're the janitor, but you're not going to be student B.
There is no janitor.
I don't see it in front of me, so I just know the problem itself looks like this. 9 factorial over 9 minus 6 factorial. Yes. This is the definition of that. So what happens here, 9 minus 6 is how much? 3. So you wind up with 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 multiplied together. That's all your possibles. Because it's 3, 2, 1 divided by 3, 2, 1, they drop out. Okay.
All right, so those two are the same thing. So when you've got one that has like multiple that you have to take away from it, would you write that? You know, like.
Oh, you weren't in here. What I did here is I would just write it out as 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. What happens here is you get, guys, give me a sec, please. You get this, where we had 11 factorial over 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. The 3, 2, 1s cancel. The ones don't make
But
any
like,
difference.
how would you write that with the?
You wouldn't. This would be your answer. 11 times 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 6, 5. You multiply all those together, that would give you your answer.
Okay.
There's no symbol for that.
All right.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
How do you know when to use the equation versus that?
This is the equation filled in.
How does 3, 2, and 2 go together? Like, also, how can we like cross out the 4, but even like,
What's-
why can't the 6 get crossed out? Because the 3 and the 2 are like,
Emma, real quick, what's 3 times 2 times 1?
that is 6.
What's 3 times 2 times 1?
But you like cross
What's-
out the 4.
I'm showing you. These simplify out because 3, 2, 1 divided by 3, 2, 1 is 1. What's 2 times 2? What's 4 over 4? That's why. That's all it was. I was combining the fractions and just simplifying out. That's all. That's all it was. Okay? That's all it was.
For 61 to play auditions, there are 3 rows of them.
There's 6.
6.
Oh.
Okay. The last two mirror the idea of the letter problems. The letter problems are talking about, let's say you have a music store that wants to display 3 identical keyboards, 2 trumpets, or 2 identical guitars. How many distinguishable displays can there be? What happens then
210.
is in this one, it mirrors the same idea of the problems up top. Okay? Distinguishable displays. Now, how many total musical instruments are there?
7.
7 of them. That's where you're going. You have that 7 factorial. In the denominator, keyboards were repeated how many times? 3. Guitars and trumpets were repeated twice. So long form again. This is 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 divided by 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay? Now, the 3, 2, 1s go away. Because 3, 2, 1 divided by 3, 2, 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is, what's 4 times 1? Times 1. 4 is dropped, you get 210.
Nailed it.
Okay? That's all it is. It's a quick way of looking at it if you didn't have your calculator. All right? Same exact thing on 63. How many dogs do you have?
A lot.
A lot of them.
Oh, it's the same.
5 or 3, 5, 4, and 3 adds up to be how much? 15. So we have 15 chihuahuas. So it's 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In the denominator you have 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to start with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Too many numbers.
Okay? What's 3 times 2, Genjo? 6 goes away. That was a lot of numbers, wasn't it? What's 2 times 4?
8.
8 goes away. Boy, am I really making this difficult, aren't I? What's 3 times 3?
9.
What goes away, Genjo?
9. Boom.
What do we have left? A 2?
2 and 3,
Yeah.
6.
The 3's already gone. So then I just make this a 5. So you wind up with 15 times 14 times 13 times 12 times 11 times 5 times 7. Ma'am.
I have a question. Where does the 15 come in from? What?
15 total.
Oh, I didn't see
3,
the
5, 4, 3 is 15.
Okay, I didn't see the
Okay.
Beagles.
I didn't say it was hard, I just said too many numbers.
Well, sounds like a whole lot of complaining in there. It's not that bad.
What you call them ambulance.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We need the ambulance.
We'll do that one in like 5 minutes.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Some cheese with your water.
Ah, I see what you did there. Please.
Oh,
Do you want to get it?
Wait,
Are we
I'll
gonna
get
get
it.
Oh, no.
We're not trying to
No way,
I want to make sure you guys know what you're doing.
So much what?